This week in action.
We stand on the cusp of a new epoch.
Do something. Talk to the developers.
Are you playing with my emotions?
Let's get sad and then
Too good to be true.
that's not what they did here. When's the money going? What other horror stories can come of this?
We love 10 cents.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to This Week in Action Podcast 30. How are we on 30 already? Is that the right number? Guilty, are we on 30?
That's the right number.
It is the right number.
Accurate.
Man, it always, is it? I almost said it makes me feel old, but, maybe time's going faster. I don't know what it is. Hello, everyone. Welcome. With me, as always, is two of my friends, two of my leaders, two of my moderators, the people that are actually the brains behind this channel. Daft and Guilty. Say hello, gentlemen.
Oh, the brains. How you guys doing tonight?
Heyo.
Hey, the brains. That's better than my what did I say before?
I don't know. You've said a lot of things.
You said a lot of clever things.
I said
How did Mike
crackpot
from
team
11th
or
Hour
something.
Games end up?
I know. Why did you
In our
put
intro.
Mike in the intro video? I noticed that.
We needed more cowbell.
You know, during Mike's streams, he actually, when he gets a sub, or maybe it's when a hype train's going, he blows on a little flute. So maybe you can incorporate that. It's like
a little
Oh,
instrumentation.
or maybe it's like a train whistle. It's something weird. I don't know what it is. I'll ask him.
Could do
Is it
that.
a recorder? So I am working when he does that because he has no, he doesn't know what, the Lord's time is here in Eastern Standard. I think he's Western Canada, right?
He's in
think
Canada.
so.
I don't know where in Canada. So it's all about
think the west
mountain
side.
time. I don't know what time it ever is, but I know mountain time is the best time.
Mountain time.
Anyways, thank you all for coming out today. As always, we have another stellar show planned for you. But before we get to our poll of the week, we like just talking for a little bit, seeing how our weeks are going. This is also a good time for us to catch up. Guilty, how's your week? I know your weekend is coming to an end. How's everything?
It's fine. I was inspired to test something out, and in the next few weeks, we'll see how that goes. Still working on other projects.
I got
Not
a
bad.
question. I got a question for you, totally unrelated. Because before we started the stream, Guilty had his guitar and he was playing a little tune. How often do you play your guitar? Daily?
More recently, yes. I used to practice guitar at probably 6 to 8 hours a day. And sometimes, when I was much younger, more. We had
Only electric?
Well, mostly. It's you can do more with an electric guitar. When I was in high school, we had a block schedule, which is 4 periods.
Yep.
And they would not give us a jazz band class during regular hours. So they gave them permission to do a 5th period. I had 3 periods of band a day. And I stayed after school. So I played, and then I would play when I got home, and I was in bands.
Yeah, because it
outside of
wasn't
school, so I
just
played a
you were
lot.
playing for school. You also enjoyed it enough where you practiced at home.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you can't really play Sepultura and stuff in school.
Not
My
much.
13-year-old went through wanting to learn an instrument for a while. She chose guitar, then she went drums, then she went back to guitar. And for her, they
Really?
had her to learn a ukulele first, and
Right.
then acoustic, and then electric. That's all my experience I have with instruments. And she ended up quitting and go to Taekwondo. Anyways, Daft, how is your week going?
Week's going well. It's the beginning of the week. My youngest son starts school tomorrow. So yeah, that's a thing.
What
outside of
grade?
that,
What grade?
7th.
Oh,
His birthday's actually today. He turned 13.
Oh, nice.
Oh, fantastic.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday. That's awesome. Question
He's
for
a
you.
man
He's a little man now. Yeah, that's what I was doing earlier when you asked what we were
Your
doing. I was like,
little
get
baby
dinner. Yeah.
is now a teenager.
You gonna throw up bar mitzvah?
Mitzvah.
I've got 6 years until my littlest is a teenager, which I hope that day never happens. I hope just the world ends and then that day
Don't
never
say that.
happens.
No, you don't. You don't want that.
You're right. I don't want that. Okay,
He'll
Daft,
be
question
fine.
Daff, question for
What's
you,
up?
and think for a second because I already know what you're gonna say. Star Trek or Star Wars?
I mean,
Is that a question?
Star Trek.
Obviously.
That's just mostly for me because I grew up with it with my mom. It was kind of like a thing we watched together as kids. So that's like the base of it. And then ever since then, like, when I
Favorite
moved-
Star Trek
What's that?
TV show?
probably
All of them
Generation.
included?
All of them.
Okay, good question. Yeah, okay.
Generations probably at the top. I like all of them for most of them. Well, most actually even the later ones are kind of fun too. They all have their qualities, but Generations probably the one that's when I moved out from my house and I was on my own, and that was like the first series on my own without my mom. So I think that was the connection.
Yep.
But yeah,
What would you put as the top of the list and the bottom of the list?
Have you watched all those newer shows? I've heard they're horrible.
I
I
have.
haven't seen them. I don't know.
I've watched them all, and I have a critique that's fair for each one.
they're not like they're obviously different levels of coolness or greatness. I don't dislike any of them, but I like some more than others, basically.
Yeah, but what would you put last? I mean, it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's not as good as the others.
Just so you know, this just came to me.
Voyager.
This just came to me
Probably
looking
Voyager.
at Daff's background. He's unprepared for all these questions, just so you're aware.
Voyager's.
Very true.
I wouldn't
It's-
place it last anymore. But yes, he is unprepared.
Okay,
Yeah.
It was
not
my
prepared.
last too. It was my last.
we should do a
Yeah.
Trekkie
Discovery is
a
my
Trekkie
last
a Trekkie stream. I'm sure that'll get a ton of
Zero.
viewers.
But
my
Yes.
My
Scott
week-
Bakula, Lady Medusa, you're 100%
Oh,
correct.
now.
That series
Enterprise.
was called. Was that Enterprise?
Yeah. So the first 2 seasons of that were really good, and the second
then-
2 seasons of that were like, what happened, sci-fi?
I've
Sci-Fi
now
Channel, like,
created
did
a
something.
monster. They can't stop talking about it. It's fine. It's honestly more entertaining than anything
But, yeah.
else.
I don't know. But yeah, grew up with the series. So but I also grew up with Star Wars, and I kind of was like a kid growing up and seeing the first trilogy and the second trilogy. Didn't really get into the last sets of the trilogy. It just never got into. My kids liked it, my wife liked it, but by that point, I wasn't really watching many movies anymore. I was more into like games and stuff, MMOs, and so I was stuck in that more while they were kind of watching those, and I was just like, but yeah, definitely Star Trek. But
You know,
I
the
don't really have a
first
grudge against either.
the first remake of I guess the reboot of the Chris Pine Star Treks, I thought the first one was okay. And then the rest of them I really didn't like. I don't know if you guys felt the same way.
They're action movies.
I know, I just
Yeah.
I mean,
They're good for what it is, but yeah.
I know.
like anytime I see Peter Weller, I have to appreciate it. And he played a pretty good bad guy. Spoiler alert.
Oh, see, now you gave it away. Lady Medusa says that is a monster of a subject. I know. What did I get myself
It
into?
is.
Well, if anybody's curious, I'm having a great week as well. It's been a good week with work, great week with the channel. I now have access, which I think I can legally tell people, to Torchlight Infinite, multiplayer PC port. I'm not using a capture card on my phone, using my damn thumbs
That's nice.
to move things around. I can now use the PC.
And that's
UI.
all I can say.
Yeah.
And that's all I can say without getting further consent, because it was the most detailed NDA I've ever had to sign. And I
They took a stool sample.
and I literally had to sign. Like, you couldn't PDF, inject the signature. Like it was like wet signature required twice.
Right.
So
Well,
yeah.
That's what you got to do.
So
That's what you
more to
gotta do.
come. I've already asked like what I'm able to say, and they're like, anything you say, you have to tell us first, and then we give you permission. So I can't talk about it. But anyways, playing some Torchlight. So let's get things rolling. We're going to talk about our poll for the week, coming in with a little over 800 votes. And I just want to say, because I know this is going to come up, okay? I wish I formulated this poll differently, okay? But, we learn from our mistakes. The poll was, preference poll. Favorite movement style for an ARPG / MMO. And the end of that poll was the problem. Most people don't like point and click on an MMO, and most people don't like WASD on an ARPG, specifically isometric. So basically, you have to give kind of your preferred movement style for two very different games. Okay, so I understand that. I realize I should have just said favorite movement style for an action RPG, and I could have put like parentheses isometric because that would have made a lot more sense. That being said, let's check out the results for these 803 votes. Coming in last place was Other Write-In. And that was 1% of the vote. Nobody wrote in anything different than what was there. So we could skip last place. Coming in fourth place was D-pad, which is like, I mean, come on. When was the last time you used a D-pad for anything? I'm actually thinking about the last game I played with the D-pad was probably like Street Fighter. I can't even think of...
That's actually a good one to use the D-pad.
Yeah.
For sure.
I've used it on a couple of roguelites, but it's not for gameplay. It's like menu work.
Right. We use
but
ours when implementing D-pad. It is for like selection or opening up.
Right.
UI
That makes sense.
So
I mean, someone out there's using it, so they're super old school.
Yeah. 2% of 803 people are using is their preferred method of movement. But I guess, yeah, if you're using, I had a, what was it called? Gosh, I'm getting old. When I used to play Street Fighter, I didn't use the fight stick. I used
the joystick.
Yeah. I didn't use, they call it a fight.
Pad.
Yeah, I used the game. I used it's like a fight controller. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, 6 buttons.
Yeah, it has all that. So it's like a controller specifically designed for Street Fighter or fighting games that had an upgraded D-pad. Not like that. That's a bad D-pad. You got to have the circle around it.
There was, I think, a game called Steel Battalion on Xbox One. I could be wrong, but it was a mech game. And the controller for it was like this elaborate like cockpit console with like joysticks and buttons and
Things.
They need to do that again.
Oh,
I need that in my life.
When you talk about mechs and robots, it makes me think of Torchlight and gameplay right now. But I can't say anything.
Nothing.
Blah, blah, blah.
On here.
Moving on to third place in our poll for preference poll, favorite movement style for an ARPG or MMO, came in with a joystick. Now, obviously, joystick basically means controller, right? That's what we're talking about. Is you're using
dual joysticks.
Exactly.
Dual, right?
Yeah. I have a left joystick and a right joystick. I use it for like Star Citizen. I've used them in MechWarrior Online.
Separate hands.
Yeah, because so in space you have 6 axis of movement, and each joystick handles 3. And then you have double the trigger buttons, and it's just the way to do it.
Right.
Well, obviously. Yeah, I mean, who doesn't know that?
Made for it.
I mean, I just didn't know that. Sorry.
That is interesting.
Learning.
So when it came to joystick, and this got 10% of the vote, right? So you're talking about what? Over 80 votes came in as joystick. And I think that's because there is a lot of people that use controllers on their PC, or there's so many ARPGs or MMOs now that you could play on console that when they see point and click, they don't know what that is. When they see WASD, obviously they're not using a keyboard. So what's the next choice? It would be a joystick.
Right. I didn't know they were called that still. I had a Atari 2600 and had that iconic, with the red button.
Yep.
That's what comes to mind when I think joystick. But
HOTAS is a good control. I mean, obviously, you're not going to use it for an ARPG, so it doesn't really count. But the HOTAS with the throttle and the joystick.
You know what? Instead of putting other, I should have put trackball. The Atari trackball.
Wow.
That's what we should have had on there. That would have gotten more votes than D-pad, I think. just because people like voting for the one that's ridiculous. All right.
Yeah.
Preference poll, favorite move and style for an ARPG or MMO. Last place was other, fourth place was D-pad, third place was joystick, and coming in second place, second the best, WASD with 27% of the vote.
Sometimes we're forced to use that.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
Like
Personally.
Magic Legends or whatever it was. That forced it. I think that's the Ascent was one that you had that option or controller.
So normally, if the game is how they put it, like a like couch co-op, twin stick shooter, like those styles of games, when they come to Steam, are normally always, and I mean always, WASD. And if you ever play a new ARPG or new MMO and you log in and the default is WASD, that means the game is also normally available on console. It's just, that's like the default.
Pretty common. Easier to port that way.
Yeah.
So they go on like with your thumbstick, that registers a number between 0 and 1. And when you press a button on your keyboard, that registers as a 1. So it counts as the same thing. Like it's either a 0 or 1. It's just going to be full speed all the way. Like in racing games, when you have the ability to have a dynamic gas pedal. You have 9 buttons that mean like this is going to be 20% throttle. This is going to be 50% throttle.
That's actually very interesting. I'm trying to think of a game that I enjoyed that used WASD recently. What was V Rising? I can't even remember. It was
pretty sure it was WASD.
Yeah.
I think it was WASD.
Yeah.
And V Rising felt pretty good.
It felt great. I think that's because the way they handled their physics.
What about Lost Ark?
It was point and click.
Was it? Click. Yeah.
And it felt good too. Like if you were small and fast, you felt fast, and if you were big and slow, you felt slow. Like they handled that well.
Yeah, they did handle that pretty well. They did do a pretty good job.
Movement was pretty fluid. I'll agree.
Hey, Luz.
By the way, Lady Medusa, Holy Jack, Luz, hello. Welcome.
Yes.
Coming in number 1 on our poll with an astounding majority of the votes. So out of every poll I've ever made, I try to make it where everything gets votes, where it's like not totally lopsided. For this poll, it was very lopsided. 60% of the vote on 803 votes went to point and click. Now, obviously, my channel is Action RPGs, which means people that probably watch and get this poll are people that like playing PoE and like playing Diablo and like playing Last Epoch and like playing Lost Ark and like playing Inquisitor and like playing Grim Dawn and like playing games that involve lots of point and click. And I'm guessing that's why it won. Not to mention that it's the best. Guilty, what got your vote?
Is there any question? Point and click.
Of course, Daft, what got your vote?
Point and click.
But I do have, it says MMO or ARPG.
Yeah.
MMO,
I've already talked about that. I've already settled that.
Yeah.
See, yeah, I prefer to put my spells and abilities in the WASD, QRE kind of area. So, yeah, I just don't like that. If you're forced to use WASD, it's like, I have to use one keys or mouse.
Oh, man, it drives me nuts, too, when it's WASD and then part of the actions are QE. So you have to... Oh, man.
That's horrible.
You immediately have to reprogram it to your mouse or to tab or space bar or something that's like easily a different finger. This is the PC gamers. This is what we have to deal with. I'll
ask you this. Do you tend to, from game to game, have a similar button layout that you play, like your jump or stop or whatever is always this key and this one? That's what I do. Like, if I can mod it to, or the,
all right,
your configuration.
I'm gonna break NDA right now.
No, don't do it.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
No.
I won't get in trouble for this. I don't know. I might get in trouble. Anyways, I won't get in trouble. In a game,
I know what he's gonna say.
That I am recently playing. inventory, I want to hit I and bring up the inventory. That's very important for me to hit I. In a game that I am recently playing that's new, that people are excited for, you can't hit I. You have to hit B for bag. You have to hit B for bag
That's
instead of
school.
I for inventory. I hate
WoW
that.
style.
I don't know if I hate it, but I usually put my bags or like that screen on tab. Like for whatever.
Tab
game,
has to be
inventory.
map. Tab has to be map.
No, for me, map, strangely enough, is N instead of M. Because I can reach it with my thumb and like reach it right there.
Diablo 2
always put map. on N.
Diablo 2 map being tab has been like my forever. Because you know your skills are QWER and then your pinky activates your map. I don't know. That just to answer your question, yes. Like also it drives me nuts when people program the game and it pops out as 1, 2, 3, 4 for your skills instead of QWER.
Yeah,
Okay, so
that's old school.
I
The 1, 2,
don't
3.
mind. I actually prefer games that use 1 through 4 and QWER. I like
Lost
having
Ark.
the
You're
two.
talking about Lost Ark, right? Where you need
and
all
Path of
8.
Exile.
Yeah. Well, now that I have this Steel Series MMO mouse and I have 12 programmable buttons on the left,
It's awesome, isn't it?
it is awesome. But what's interesting is the way that I hold the mouse. I only like comfortably can hit like 4 of them, which sounds really silly. But normally I don't need to hit all of them.
No.
I run a 65% keyboard that doesn't have function keys. So my function keys, when I need them, I have a setting on my mouse that those are my function keys.
By 65%, do you mean you don't have the number pad?
65% is 10 keyless, but I have the home and the delete keys. So it has
off.
the home, but it does not have the numpad. Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen those.
So on this topic of point and click, keyboard configurations, things like this, a game that is wildly popular, I think it might win Game of the Year. Anyways, it's been downloaded like a trillion times, this Cult of the Lamb, and we've talked about it. I've made a video on it.
Yeah.
I want to play it.
It is unbelievably pop. I don't play it, but I downloaded it, and then as soon as I downloaded it and I saw that the default was arrows, I uninstalled it. Now let me just explain.
That was the default when you played it, right?
Hold on, let me just explain. When I downloaded it for PC, the default key configuration for
arrow.
movement was arrows and unconfigurable. You could not change the movement from arrows. And I uninstalled. That's it. I uninstalled it.
I don't know if that's a thing right now. I really don't. I'd have to look.
Is that
I don't have it.
But Daft, that's pretty hard to believe, right? You're like, come on.
I've had a couple games that are kind of old school that'll have that as the default and you have to use them. So I end up using my controller. Those are typically games made for controllers and they just kind of...
Oh, it is
whatever.
for sure a game made for a controller. 100%.
That's a game. I have one. I just showed it a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
I'll use it when you need them.
Where is my
For games
controller?
like that. Yeah.
I'll
Good for
use
racing
my
games,
controller
fighting
for racing games, fighting games, and now some rogues. Like I liked it for Chop Chop. I like it for
definitely.
I like it for Endless Dungeon. You guys got to play that, right? Never mind. You know, those style of games. Those style.
Endless Dungeon.
Endless
Yes, I did play Endless Dungeon. I played it since like 20. Actually, when you did that video about it, last time I played it was like 2015 or something like this. So it's like, oh yeah, play it.
It's on Game Pass, guys.
See that?
No, Undungeon.
Not Endless
Undungeon.
Dungeon. Yes.
No, not
Lady
Undungeon.
Medusa agrees with me. Map should be tab.
Yep. No, I can't. Like for me, it has to be the inventory or / inventory character screen with your,
Okay, so
Whatever
then
works.
I think it'll play well on Steam Deck.
okay, so Daft, when you go to hit N key to activate your map, what finger pushes it? Is it left hand thumb or are you moving your whole hand over?
left hand thumb. It usually sits on the space bar and I just move it up. Hit the end.
That's no, I'm doing that right now.
That's for me. It's because I don't open the map that often, so that's perfect and out of the way, and it's not as far as M. It has nothing to do with the letters for me. It's more of a mental muscle memory.
You need
It depends.
you need to get the pinky up with tab.
Tab. If it's an overlay map, but if it's like a map that takes you to its own dedicated UI and you can't see anything,
right.
Hit M.
That's M for me.
Yeah.
That map, the over UI or whatever type is always N. And then tab I use with my pinky, but for opening my inventory, looking at my character and stuff like that.
Okay, and given the option, if you had to pick between B for bag or I for inventory to pull up your stuff you've picked up, which one do you select?
B.
B?
Because it's right next to my N, which is right next to the map. So I would just do that. It's better than like reaching over across the keyboard over to I.
Then the game that I am talking about, you are really going to enjoy because you cannot change your keys to program inventory as I. It is default B, and you can't change it.
That's fine for me. Hopefully you can change, like games in the modern era need the ability to accessibility, right? You need to, make it so you can modify the keys. Ultimately, I think that's a better call.
I think I sent up 6 problems I want addressed already to that team, and they said they have received it and got back and will get back to me. So I thought that was pretty cool. At least like an acknowledgement, even if it's, they look at it and crumple it up and throw it in the trash can. At least, hey, we received it. We'll look into it. I'll take that over not hearing anything.
Right. Totally.
I thought that's cool. Okay. Anything else you guys want to talk about on the poll before we move on?
Yeah. What do you guys think would be a good poll for next week?
Yeah. What do you guys say in chat?
Yeah.
What do you guys kind of poll? Here, while we're waiting, I can share.
I will say that that last poll just came to my head because I don't know. I think I was playing a game and I was thinking of maybe I was playing my rogue in last Epoch or something like that. Pole dancing.
I already answered. It was a yes. It was unanimous. It's done.
The poll should be, what would you rather have, I for inventory or B for bag? Oh, thank you, Daft. 13 months. I owe High, Guilty, Daft, and Migs hat flips.
I for inventory or B for bag is a decent question because a lot of WoW players are used to the B.
Right.
And I owe Xever a hat flip. 14 months. Ooh, Xever's got Daft beat right now. Sorry. Nobody can see what's happening unless you're looking at the chat right now. Okay.
So
if you have
and I are at 14 months.
If you have a comment on the poll, put it in the chat or go over to the Discord in the Patreon section. We have a questions.
Yep.
Put it in there. All right, moving on. So bigger news from this week. Me and Guilty actually live streamed it on Monday. Was the reveal from AMD on their new 7000 series AM5 socket CPUs, which maybe or maybe not I will be purchasing. Depends if my
maybe not.
wife is still watching the stream, then I am not purchasing it. She is, or no, yeah, if she is watching, no. If she isn't watching it
for her.
Yeah, I'm buying it for her. That's a better way to put it. Yeah, I'm just going to get her one. Yeah. So
that's the ticket.
That's a ticket. Pricing is going to be $700, $550, $400, and $300. So looks like some pretty decent. Look, eye roll she puts. Dang it, Guilty. Question is, okay, we're actually not going to get into the specifics on the CPU. We're not going to talk tech. What we are going to talk about, AMD or Intel. Daft, what do you think?
See, I didn't watch this or take into it, so I don't. Give me a good question that I can relate to that'll make sense.
Okay, so
what am I looking at here?
So
what's your favorite color? Red or whatever that amalgamation of green, blue that NVIDIA.
So the CPU of your computer, the brain of your computer,
right,
is normally either an Intel CPU like an
Yes,
i3, i5, i7, i9 with a certain generation next to it, or an AMD CPU.
Right.
So that would be categorized as, are you team blue or are you team red, or do you not care?
Sure. I don't really have a preference personally. Right now it's an NVIDIA. I've had AMD. I've never really kind of been, super techie like that. I usually ask people and get like I've asked you recently, what kind of card? And you'll say blah, blah, blah. So, but not as nerdy as you guys about it.
What do you mean nerdy? What is that supposed to mean?
But I don't spend time putting the brain work towards it, right? I appreciate the nerdiness though. I'm nerdier in other ways, but in this way, I will ask you guys personally. I'm like, hey guys, what do you think? And outside of that, I don't like to do the homework or like watch it. It's just not intriguing. But
So,
if I were to ask you guys, you'd probably say getting AMD. Yeah.
I think he and I are both
Team Red.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't had one for I think 2016, 2015.
Like this. Especially now, because AMD is definitely more than a contender.
Right.
Until we see like whatever the next overpriced chip from Intel is. Their pricing is fair when compared to their competition by a lot. Like Intel will have $1,000 chip, and AMD will have a $500 chip, in that would be their competitor. And the last time arounds, with the exception of single like core performance or non-gaming things, or maybe in gaming, but for everything else,
Right.
AMD's on top in benchmarks for like half the price almost.
Right. Well, when I do upgrade, it is in the semi-future plan. So,
Like how?
when I cross that,
Well, are you how about this? I'll rephrase it. Are you
right?
buy the latest generation, or wait until the new generation's coming and then buy the previous gen? Right? Because right now, if you don't care about the new stuff coming out, you can get some great deals on current tech, knowing what's about to drop.
Right.
Would you get would you get the next gen, or would you buy current gen?
It's a question because I do a lot of artwork on many things. So my computer needs to kind of have bits of power and stuff. So I think it would depend on ultimately just the price range. Ultimately, that would be probably the decider what is just more reasonable at the time. That's the best answer I could give.
My new system I will be building for my wife will actually be probably the cheapest setup that I'll ever buy, because normally it's like I'll buy the lights, I'll buy the monitors, I'll get the stream deck, I'll get a new mic, I'll get a new arm, I'll get a new keyboard, I'll get a new mouse, I'll get a new webcam. I'll be like, but I want, the desk is old. I'll get a new desk. Like, it'll be like a complete experience upgrade. Whereas this time it'll be unplug the desktop that's currently there, put in the new desktop. So really all I'm building is that tower. So which really means all I need to purchase is I think 6 things. Case,
not too bad.
RAM, motherboard, CPU cooler, power supply. 6.
Last time I built, I think
SSD,
it was 13.
7 items.
13's the number, right, for just a basic build, right?
How many items you need?
Yeah, I think it was 13.
Well,
it's been a minute since I built them, like to over 10 years.
It depends how many hard drives or SSDs you put in. Depends how old it is. If you put in a disk drive, that kind of stuff. So, does your computer have a disk drive that comes out?
No. What is that?
I'm just checking.
No.
Right.
My 2 computers back did. Had the little CD-ROM thing that would get jacked up. Yeah.
The last one I had with a CD drive was an FX 6300 build. So a long time ago.
Dude, I remember I would go Actually, this is one of the few times I would go to Fry's Daft because they had all the, they would have the custom front spot, the custom like digital readout panels, so you could take out your disk drive and put in the readout panels and change your fans and stuff.
Right.
And that feels like so long ago. Xever in chat said, I'm buying a brand new PC again. Worst thing, dying with money in your account. Can't take it with you.
When you die.
Can't take it with you.
You picked up the old Steam Deck, didn't you, Xever? You're just upgrading all over the place. Nice.
I mean, he wants to have the cool hotness all over the. Let us know how that works for all the games we play.
I'm debating. I'm gonna ask Gary what he thinks.
Really, I registered for the middle tier one, and then articles came out that said that you don't know if they're going to screw you essentially because they changed the memory or it was the storage without like notifying people. So some of them have the actual storage that was listed and some of them don't.
You're talking about for Stream Deck.
Right.
Steam Deck. Yeah.
Steam Deck, yeah.
And I'm if you're going to give me a lesser storage device, you're going to charge me less. Or I'm not going to buy it.
Right. And they're probably like, great, don't buy it. We have a million other people that will buy it.
Yeah. And like 2 milliseconds later, after I gave up, someone else picked it up. But whatever.
What? You don't sound bitter, so no big deal.
No, it's not like there's not going to be a version 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Anyways, in case anybody is curious.
What's that?
What I plan on building is a AMD Ryzen 9 7900X CPU. Undecided on what the CPU cooler is going to be at this point. I will likely get a Fractal or Be Silent case.
Fractal, right? Nice. So is Be Silent.
Haven't decided on the case yet. I will get an X670E, but likely the lower end tier of the E motherboards. And I'm looking at the Tai Chi from ASRock. I'm going to get a new 1 terabyte PCI Express 5 M.2 NVMe as my storage to put into the 1 PCI Express 5 slot on that motherboard. And I'm going to get 32 gigabytes of the newest DDR RAM, depending on the speed for that CPU, which is undetermined because it has not been tested.
Question.
Yo.
Go ahead.
Okay, so is the additional performance to graphics processing that important to you?
Yes.
So you need the extreme version.
I need
the lower tier extreme.
I'm going to get the lower tier extreme because the lowest tier extreme is going to give you the M.2 and the GPU, the PCI Express 5 lanes. So that is what I'm going to do. Luz, thank you for the gifted sub. I appreciate that. Xever, me and Guilty were talking before we went live because we saw the article that you posted about the 7900X 3D.
Right.
But I can't wait. My wife needs this new tower badly.
Aaron, are you going to be putting together said computer?
I know. Do I use this right here? My 4K camcorder that just sits behind me now to record it?
Yeah.
And then Jay from Jay's 2 cents comes in and rips apart your build process.
No, Lady Medusa.
It'd be a fun video. Yeah.
I'd watch both videos. I'd watch his and yours. His more though.
Lady Medusa, the new AM5 socket requires DDR5. Cannot use DDR4. So I'll be using that.
Right.
But one thing about AMD chips historically is there's a sweet spot based upon the speed of that RAM. So I don't know if it's going to be 6400, 5600, 6000. Wait for testing.
So
yeah,
that sweet spot's progressively getting higher.
Yeah.
Like,
yes. Now, the only other component I did not talk about for my new tower is the GPU, which is again undecided because we don't have any specs, any pricing, or the release date from Team Green or Team Red. We know that it's going to be huge improvements in performance. So unless legitimately I got my hands on a brand new 3090 Ti for like $800, I'll probably just wait until I get my hands on a new GPU. But NVIDIA has a stream coming on September 20th, where they will be releasing at least their 4090 details.
See what up.
That card is going to be... This is where Guilty says it's a dev card. Here we go. Go ahead, Guilty.
You have so much diminishing returns off the extra money you pay for it that it's not worth it. Not for gaming.
What about other?
You go one tier below it, and that's where the sweet spot is for putting out a bunch of money for GPU.
Oh, for sure. So if you're talking
Right.
cost to performance, you probably actually get a 3070 over a or a 4070, right, over the 4080.
The 3070 comes out, and people had just bought their 2080 Titan, whatever it was,
TI,
doing the same thing. It's like
so
$500 to $1,200.
Based upon now we're like totally off. Based upon leaked benchmarks right now, they are saying that the 4070, which is almost entry level for the next generation, will be on par with a current 3090 Ti, which during the height of the craziness, that card would cost you over $3,000 just with the GPU.
That's nuts. And that's the thing. Over the last couple of years, obviously, it wasn't a thing to do this.
I know.
I lost a lot of my, I used to keep track of these things, but through the dark era where we were just like, everything's expensive as hell, I just kind of disconnected from it. You know?
Yep.
We all refer to the last 2.5 years as the dark era or the dark times.
But I mean, if you're talking like a Zotac or an Asus, like a high-end partner card, 3090 Ti, I mean, that card right now will last you, 10 years, right? Guilty of gaming performance? Probably.
I mean, I can't speak as to what's in the future, but it's not going to be bad. Like, you could still use a 1070 right now in game.
You could probably use a 970.
You can.
Right.
To put it in perspective, I gave a liquid cooled 1070 to Cecilia's brother that was in a unit just collecting dust, and he needed a card. He's not at all, he doesn't know any difference, because he's came from console. It's better than all the consoles except for the most recent consoles, which he doesn't have.
When all this craziness was going on, I went into my storage and I sold my 970 WindForce, I sold my 1070 Ti, I sold my 2080 Super, I sold my 6800 non-XT, and then I was able to get retail the 3070 Ti from MSI. And then I parted out my whole system. My wife never believes me. She's like, yeah, you're so full of crap. Which I totally understand why she doesn't believe me. I parted out my old tech and my old computer to build my current. It was completely free. Computer I'm sitting with.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Free. Which, how often can you resell old computer tech? That's like 1 in a million, you know?
Only in the Mad Max times.
I literally found a 4060. I almost put it up for sale, but I was like, I can't do. I don't know if it works. I was like,
wow.
But somebody that doesn't have dedicated video or any video on their motherboard, they just need something to get the monitor to run. So every once in a while, you could sell something.
Yeah, there's a few boards that don't have the niceties of.
Yeah, that was prior to PCI Express. That was AGP slot on the motherboard.
Oh my god. That was relevant when I was building computers a lot. Yeah.
When was the last time you heard that, Guilty? AGP.
It has been a minute.
Advanced graphics processor, right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward, because we're all still oh, this RAM speed and all that. I'm looking forward to the point in time where our storage is fast enough that we don't need RAM. There are some server farms that have RAM-less servers because the storage is fast enough.
Okay,
I want it to be consumer level so I can have a supercomputer and I can finally play Last Epoch at 60 FPS.
Okay, the first tests on PCI Express M.2 NVMe on a PCI Express motherboard that supports PCI Express 5 with a newer CPU was transmitting 13 gigs a second.
It's ancient.
They really that's ridiculous.
13 gigs a second.
So like they reverse engineered spacecraft from Mars or something.
That is, and they always say the same thing. Like right now, less than 1% of technology can take advantage of PCI Express 4. And in 2 months, you're going to have full access to PCI Express 5. And yes, that speed that's 13 gigs a second.
You have to. So the thing is, things have to be made to use that.
Exactly.
The bottleneck is going to be literally everything in existence until something's made to use that.
Yeah, it won't matter. It's just like, it's fast enough. You have a freeway that's 70 miles. Yeah, it's not going to help.
But it's weird because
that's the speed.
Because you always think about like when is like it fast enough forever? Because it's instantaneous, right?
Right.
Like in my head, it's what? Okay, is there 13 gigs a second or a billion gigs a second is irrelevant because you're never going to transfer anything in currently, right?
So
more than that,
it funnels down to your wire or to your wireless connection, or it goes down into the motherboard. The motherboard has a bandwidth too. It can't just let everything in through all at once.
But the whole point is the PCI Express 5 channels do allow it to, right? That's the whole.
All of them. Yes.
That's pretty fast, though.
It's fast. Well, look at the latest Xbox, the Series XS. That new memory they have. The reason games work the way they do is because that memory's bandwidth is ridiculous for a console.
Right.
It's actually kind of ridiculous for.
Guilty. This is what I want. Could a bottleneck be the software?
What do you mean?
What if you have the fastest computer in the world that runs all this stuff? Would your rendering
update software for the hardware before it's like?
But you hear what I'm saying? Like, would my rendering times on my video be that much faster with those components, or would the software be like, I just can't possibly render it that fast, regardless of what you have?
I suppose. I mean, like when people like do run like Cinebench or something like that, I don't know if we're anywhere near where it's just saying I give up and can't count this.
Got it.
So I don't think so. Maybe it's a thing. I don't know.
When I'm editing, I sometimes have to wait for certain renders and things like that, or bottlenecks because I'm doing too many things at once. So then it shuts down. So I'm wondering, with this new PC, will it really make a difference? I guess that's kind of my question.
If we got rid of RAM, I think that might be a possibility in the future, because that's where the slowdown is. You have to wait for your RAM to fetch the thing from the storage and bring it to the brain. If you get rid of the RAM, Is
that an actual thing?
Yeah.
Or are they trying to get rid of RAM now?
There really are server farms that are RAM-less. Also, we have ARM technology that's been around since the early 90s. We have RISC machines. The new M1 silicon from Apple it's an ARM chip. What that is the RAM, pretty much everything's in one chip except for storage, and it's just a more efficient way of sending information because it's all on the die. It doesn't have very far to travel, and it has what it stands for is like RISC. A RISC machine is reduced instruction set computing. And ARM chip is an advanced RISC machine, so it sends fewer instructions. So like they remove all the garbage that's present and only send the meat and potatoes, the things that are important, and it does that much faster because it's inside of itself. Right. There's that way of doing it, and then there's the way that people are just removing RAM entirely, which I think will come eventually. We'll have a RAM-less computer at home. Or no computer at all. Everything will be streamed from a main computer. We're already seeing that with gaming.
Right.
One less component to buy. But then also...
Exactly.
It also makes me think that there will be a time, which I'm actually surprised we're not at that time now, where you don't need a computer. Like you're just logging in and you're using their computer. GeForce Now. Basically what GeForce Now is, if you're familiar with that.
Right.
You could just use their computer to run the games, basically just like a no console and play, which works pretty well. Xever says the new Radeon reference card looks even more sexy this time around.
It does.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't show it. It's just like a couple line of RGB across it or something.
They saw you see it, like the top half inch of it.
So Xever is one of my tech buddies in the Discord, and I feel like this is going to be so hard for me because I want to make a no RGB setup. I want no lights whatsoever. I want it to be blackout, and I think it's going to be next to impossible. Because even if you get a 4090, the G-force on the video card lights up. So it would have to be a partner card that has no lights.
Good luck, Aaron.
I know. I guess
It's
it would
kind
be
of a thing.
I guess it would be maybe cool if like the only thing lit up in the case with like 4090. It's kind of like a flex a little bit, I guess. But I get, I don't
It's
know.
a mini flex, it's kind of darkness, and you get this little like glowing.
And then every time I see Guilty, I could be like, hey, I got a 4090. It's a dev card, right? And he could be like, diminishing returns, bro. And then
I'll say it. Well, I mean, if you're going to use it to develop something where that extra bit is actually valuable, more power to you.
I'd be like, what do you got, bro?
Right.
The same FPS. or 10 less.
Like Xever
Well, I will
says,
say-
that's acceptable for no RGB. Okay, good.
Right. I will say, when I do endeavor down this line, I will be talking to you, gentlemen.
Oh, yeah.
So don't worry.
Oh, yeah.
It'll come
All
up.
right. We are done talking about.
Yeah.
So, segment 1, we talked about the poll, movement preference in ARPGs and MMOs. Segment 2 was tech. We talked about AMD Intel and the new 7000 series AM5 socket from AMD. And now we're moving on to our third topic. And this is something that I've wanted to talk about for a little bit. Gentlemen, you're probably not prepared for this. That's okay, don't worry. I always just go off the cusp, all right? Something I wanted to ask you guys, okay? Third topic. What do you think
Incoming.
about charging gamers for an early 3-day early access of the game? Guilty, what do you think?
Open market, do what you want.
So, Lost Ark, game drops, blah, 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 date. Give us $20 extra you could play 3 days early. You think, hey, no big deal.
It was 15, wasn't it, for the bronze or whatever?
The bronze
Think so.
pack?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
The bronze got you the 3-day, and that was about it.
That's what I'm asking.
I mean, it's fine. I have zero. Okay, when it comes to something like that, it's like, okay, I'm not going to say they shouldn't sell or whatnot.
Right.
Sell, market, whatever way you want. You could do you, but like if it pisses off the community, that's on you. You did that.
Rephrase the question. Do you think they should?
Oh, they could do whatever they want.
All right, you're
Would
forget
I
you.
do it? I don't actually have like an issue with it. Like if it's a multiplayer game and you want to sell the game before it's released, which solidifies your numbers. Like
Right.
FOMO is a real thing.
If anybody watches these podcasts, this always happens. Guilty. I'm going to rephrase again. If it was your freaking game
that's what I'm saying.
and
right now.
you
Like, I
were
have
going
no
to
problem
release
with
it
I
on
would do
August 20th, would you say, hey, give us $20 more and you could have it on August 17th?
Yeah, I would do. I have zero problem with that. That's what I was saying.
All right. Thank you for the straight answer. Daft, what do you think?
I'm kind of in the same boat. I mean, all that means is you're anxious and you want to play the game and you're willing to pay 15, 10 bucks, whatever it is, 20 bucks. I don't see a problem with it. I mean, if it's 3 days and I'm assuming this same thing goes live, you could say, well, I want to get a little head start. That's about it. I'm paying for a head start. That's kind of what it feels like.
I just view that as the actual launch date.
That,
Yeah.
yes, exactly.
Basically.
Oh, I'm
Basically,
so
yeah.
glad that you came to that realization. Because that's how I feel.
That's-
I feel like the game drops on August 20th, but if you want to give us 10 extra bucks, you could play it on August 17th. Okay, so the release date
Right.
is August 17th.
Well,
is
it's
what you're...
the same thing with movies. Oh, it releases Friday. No, it releases Thursday.
No,
at 6
that is
PM.
very different. So you don't have to pay extra to go watch it on Thursday. It's the same price
No,
as
it's the
watching
same
it on
price.
Friday.
That's true.
That's a different analogy. So
Tuesdays are $5 days. You're right.
yeah, that's the day we go to the movies. Matinee pricing. Stick to
Yeah. They
Migs
wait
in
for 6
chat.
p.m. though.
Migs in chat is basically saying the same thing. It's just head start. You know, it's the game's launching, like you guys, like we were just saying. It's like, yeah, it's kind of when it launches, and everybody else is just on the second, third. You know,
I would say
in later.
Previous to this Discord, previous to starting a YouTube channel and a Twitch, the 3-day head start, I would literally probably care less. The fact that you're playing with friends, you're playing with a community,
right?
You don't want to be late to the party. That's where it feels like a requirement. I feel like if you have a group of friends or you have people, if you make content, if you race, if you do anything like that, it becomes a requirement. And just like how, you know, MTX and microtransactions and cash shops and all this other crap has become a staple in gaming, whether it's PC, console, or mobile, I have been noticing more and more of this kick us more money on top of AAA pricing. And basically all they're doing is just unlocking the games a few days earlier. I just wanted to get your guys' perspective if you think it's kind of a filthy, dirty tactic. Because in my head, I don't think I think it sucks. That's my opinion.
I mean, what would you consider a filthy, dirty tactic?
The game is $60. It's releasing this day, and then they're like, well, we're going to get 1 million more people to give us an extra $10 just by flipping this Switch 2 days earlier. Like, you know, it's
the same price if you pre-order it. You're not paying extra money. You're paying the same money as everyone else. You're just doing it before it's released.
No, for Lost Ark, you had to get the bronze pack,
which is 15. Yeah, but Lost Ark's free to play. There's other games that do it with just a pre-order, and usually the pre-order is cheaper.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of gimmicks and things that go on right now with that, like different angles. The one we're talking about, though,
maybe
seems
not usually,
pretty.
but sometimes.
Well, like in, you know,
cheaper
the MMOs, there's cheaper ones that kind of get you up front, or they'll wait until you're in the game and in the shops. So it's like, I don't know, it's kind of throwing around the money angle in the game, like meta somewhere.
My only issue with the game industry in terms of monetization, like if you want to sell skins, sell all the skins you want.
Right.
For it.
Buy what they want. If you purposely take advantage of a person's physiology so that their choice is not exactly their choice.
Right.
I hate you and I wish you no well. You are no bueno, and I'm not going to sponsor you with my wallet.
But you love Tencent and Blizzard, right?
We love you, Tencent. We would never say anything ill about Tencent.
Would you rather work for Blizzard Entertainment or Wolcen Studios? Daft.
Oh. Currently?
Currently. Lose says Wolcen.
Wolcen.
Yeah, I would work for Wolcen as well, because
all things being equals, which means like you're getting the same amount of pay.
Right.
I would go work at Wolcen because I just want to see what kind of disaster is happening there.
Blue says she'll be the CEO. I do want to know what's going on there. I have so many questions I would like to have answered.
Which takes us to our next segment. Wolcen, Lords of Mayhem, have dropped their August update communication.
There was some news, right?
I mean, it's not really
or
news.
A lack of news.
Yeah, well, I mean, there is an update,
just
though.
Reaffirming things we've all been saying.
So what they have told us is they're going to continue to update controller support. So they're going to make it where you can use PlayStation controllers, you can reprogram keys. You're going
what else did they say? The dead zone, right?
They're going to have, something about...
Yeah, gotta fix the dead zone.
Okay, did you pick up on what that was referring to?
No.
Okay, so if your dead zone, when you do controller on a game, is not wide enough, you constantly run to the left or to the right or wherever your controller is at, because not all sticks are equal.
That's what that is? That's called? Okay. Yeah.
That's the center where it will not register.
Right. One of our controllers had that. I think it got stuck in the couch and someone sat on it and kind of jacked up the controller or something like that. And it forever was bent to the left. Just couldn't do anything. Had to throw it away.
Sad. I imagine people were bitching and complaining that their 20-year-old Xbox 360 controller or whatever they have around, it doesn't have a perfectly straight stick. It was running to the left a little bit every now and then.
It's pretty funny that in their communication, they also said that they've loved reading the responses from the community based upon controller and UI updates being so overwhelmingly positive. I don't remember reading those same communications.
Where are these communications? I need to see some receipts.
They exist somewhere.
I don't know.
Some forum maybe.
Are they in English?
Discord.
They are French. Are they in English?
I don't know.
I don't know. I guess you should go to their Discord.
No,
See what
they're
it's like.
they're French.
Yeah.
I would, that's the other reason why I would work for them, because I get to see the world.
Ah, you get to
They
travel,
will.
and you love traveling. So,
Yeah.
Wolcen, not only are they going to continue to update controller support, which is actually also funny because they said that how did they put it? They said their long gestating project controller support. They put it some crazy way. Anyways, they're going to continue to update controller support. They are going to be moving all their servers to themselves. Guilty. What are they doing?
It was not 100% clear, but from what they posted, they're moving all of the character data from the community to their own in-house system where their own engineers can handle it.
It was a little cryptic.
That tells me is we are done paying for servers.
Right.
This is cheaper because there's only 200 people max playing a day. We can host this off of an old computer we retired.
Oh, that was going to be my next question. And again, I have no idea. Could my computer right now host 200 players concurrent?
I doubt it, but your computer's not a server. You'd have to set it up.
Right.
So it's not just a hardware thing; it's a software thing too.
Got it. What is a cheap server cost that could handle 200 players?
I would have to find someone that does that professionally.
Either way, buying one would be way cost.
It's not expensive.
Yeah. Having an in-house server that could handle 200 players compared to renting servers to handle 140,000. It's probably cheaper.
Remarkably cheaper.
So we had the option of, we did have hardware, an NAS or NAS, what do you want to call it?
Yep.
For development. It just became faster to use a cloud-based versioning control, but we're using plastic right now. So for speed, we went to that. Also because it was, I pay for it, so I'm going to use it.
That makes sense.
But before that, it was hardware based, and it was a little bit slower because I was using an old machine.
Happens.
You still have to have rendering capability on those. I think if you're going to stream it, and if you intend to stream a game, you have to have something to stream.
Of course,
something that can play games. But in this particular case, I don't know what they're doing. It could just they specifically stated character data.
Right, they did.
Which I don't know how they did their build. I don't know any of that. But it seems to me like there's 200 players, and they're not paying for servers anymore.
Just to be clear, their max is about 150 now, and their daily low is about 60. The lowest I saw was 64. So
they might be able to host 1,000 until they start seeing the numbers pick up. Then they might go back to a paid for it.
It makes sense. I don't know why they made it so public.
I don't know why you would, because they're going to take it offline. That's why
they have a shutdown. That would have been hilarious if they didn't tell anyone and nobody noticed. That would have been really. They'd be like, "What? Whatever." Okay.
There was
Wolcen announced for their August update. It being, of course, August 31st. So just making it in.
Yes.
Updated. Updates coming for the controller. Taking down the servers to move to their own or something like that. And they also announced skill rebalance and unique item rebalance coming for chapter 4. Okay.
Yes.
Now this is what's also hilarious is that it's not new skills. It's not new uniques. It's just rebalanced current skills and rebalanced current uniques coming along, intertwined with the chapter 4 content. So all of that will be released as like, I don't know, probably some major update.
There'll be bug fixes to follow, and it's on life support. They're already starting another project.
I was just thinking, I was like, I just don't even care about this game anymore. It just.
I care about it. It's fun to make fun of.
Yeah, I wish it, all the best of the team or whatever and getting it on. Yeah, but it's just
I would think they could probably sell it for a decent amount.
Yeah, they should.
They should just sell it to a new team, a new devs, and just rebrand it a little bit and kind of like come in, like new ideas and the whole bit. That could help it.
Rebrand it Grim Dawn 2 and then
no,
change
it. No. God, hell no. If they sold it to someone whose team didn't 50% of them, is that a safe estimate? Allegedly 50% quit.
Yeah. More. But
more than that. Yeah.
So, like senior staff included.
Yep.
Yes.
We're wondering why we're not seeing things come out. Well, it's because they quit.
There's no leadership, so it's just a mulling team, just kind of.
What the hell do we do
I'm
now?
not going to make fun of the remaining team.
No, I'm not. But
no, I will make fun of the people that left because they could have made something great.
It's not making fun of it at this point, but it's like, when the leaders are gone, like if you're talking about troops or something, you wipe out all the leaders, troops are going to meander a little bit. They're not going to know what to do, and that's kind of feels like.
But the idea is that the
Right.
game is fresh enough and visuals are fresh and the assets are fresh where they could probably sell the entire thing for a decent amount. And you got to remember that they sold 2 million copies at $40. So they got all that money.
Aaron, you got a Chris Benjamin on you?
No.
We could buy it tonight.
And do what with it?
Who is going to buy Wolcen though, Aaron? Who would buy Wolcen?
THQ.
Yeah, THQ Nordic.
I could see it.
What? You know what? Yeah, because I think they could. Yes.
THQ could buy Wolcen, and
Who else?
they could rebrand
The
it.
ability.
Crate could,
Cryptic.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Cryptic. That's also something Cryptic would pick up.
I know, and they would monetize. That's one thing about Wolcen. No, Wolcen
skins.
Wolcen has no cash shop, not monetized outside of the retail price.
It does not have that stigma. It's literally the game itself.
All of its armories and skins and being able to change how you look, all of that comes free.
Lou says Disney, but Disney owns Lucas Arts, Lucas Interactive, or whatever it's called now. Whatever. They might too.
No, Disney. No.
It's fine. Whatever. They can't do any worse, man.
Don't change it into something that I can't make fun of.
You can make fun of it.
You can.
You can make fun of the fact that in the original Force Unleashed, when it was, first
Here we go.
You
Wheels
could run into a bug where you could not kill
the wagon,
the bad guy of the game.
Well, that's because he's unstoppable.
And he couldn't kill you either because he was a statue.
He was a statue. Last topic. We've got 17 minutes left. So now you're up to date on the poll. You're up to date on tech. You're up to date on Wolcen. We talked about early access, paying to get into the game. Last topic of this podcast is we're going to talk a little bit of Torchlight Infinite and what I can tell you.
It's promising, it looks.
What I could tell you is it's promising and it's a game. I really can't say that much.
That is literally what he can tell you.
Yeah, I mean,
they know his blood type now, everyone.
I mean, I can tell you they know where I live, so that's.
They know what the inside of his. Yeah, he was given a cavity search.
Did you notice any tents popping up in your
No, I did not notice that.
Oh, he has a new roommate.
Yeah, it's called Remote Access My Phone and listen to everything I'm saying, including right now. So I am currently inside a community test pilot, something like that, where I have full access to Torchlight Infinite, including the
pilot,
including the PC port. So I am actually playing the PC version. Just so you know, they are doing a 3-week closed beta test, which will be the last closed beta before they actually do the open beta in October. So you actually can sign up for that right now. And
the October thing is going to be an open beta, or is it going to be release?
I think it's an open beta. I think it's open beta.
Which is, let's see how the game is for the mass
and
community.
the PC, or just for the PC?
1 second, I'll look it up. Oh no, PC will be in it.
No, I mean, the phone, because the phone, I thought that was the release date for phone.
No, the PC. So this October, so the September closed beta and the October open beta both will have mobile and PC.
Okay, same day release. So that's good. Well, I'm assuming right now the mobile version's probably closer to done, and they're trying to tweak the port for the PC version.
Okay, listen to this. Listen to this.
Yeah.
This was posted yesterday. Torchlight Infinite. Before the official open beta begins, experience Torchlight Infinite in advance during the 2-week-long closed beta test 3 on September 5th. CBT 3 supports PC, Android, and iOS devices. Download from the official website, TapTap, Google Play, and Test Flight. So that is what is going on. So you can get a 2-week early access. But my question is, this is actually the question I've proposed. The character I'm working on now, will I have to start over September 5th? The character that you start September 5th, do you have to start over in October? Is this something you're going to be able to carry along? That's kind of what I want to know right now.
Nah, for me, I don't care about that. You know me. I'll restart.
You'll restart. I do care about it, but not as much as I would in, say, let's say Diablo 4 comes out.
Right.
Okay? And they restart you on your because I don't always play leagues. Sometimes I just play standard. Like if I had to restart my standard character, I would hate life.
Yep.
I'd be like, oh, what's the point in playing?
I will say, if it depends on how long the gap is. The gap, if it's a huge gap, then I would be a little more irritated. Like if it's like 5 or plus months.
No, but I like going back to them later.
Right.
And I like, right. For instance, I've returned to my poison dervish, and every now and then I'll run Crucible or I'll run Shattered Realms just for fun, and I want to have like some OP badass to do that with. Now, I can't do that if they take that from me.
So for me, it's just it's always about time, right? So I already, the character I'm leveling right now, I've already got a great idea for a build. Obviously, I got to test to make sure it's a good build. So leveling a character, leveling all the skills, getting the gear in order to make a leveling guide, a build guide for the game. If it gets wiped, well then, it ups my time frame and I got to do pre-recording early. So just, for me, it's...
I could see that angle.
It's lots of planning.
I guess for me, at this point, like when I play games like this, it's all about just building different characters. So probably what would happen for me is I'd just pick a different character to start the game with. So it's a fresh kind of character point of view, at least. So instead of being the range character, I'm the magic caster. It's fresh, it's new, it won't bother me that much. So I guess that would be my angle if it was really feeling a little like, I lost my character. Stats. Right.
That's how I would feel. What am I gonna do when Last Epoch gets multiplayer?
Okay, so that's why I am not putting as much time into it as like a lot of people are.
Yeah, I'm in that boat.
Because A, it's going to be useless. They're going to rebalance it before I get and B, I'm going to be very sad when all my stuff is gone.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming once multiplayer releases, I'll probably just play on multiplayer and either be on multiplayer or just solo. But
that's what everyone else is going to do.
Yeah, so I think for me, when it does, I'll have the whole gear hunt, unique hunt, kind of that thing will feel fresh and kind of like super useful
because
you
not
could
fresh right now.
right. Well, you could trade, you can keep, you could
Right.
you know develop. Looking forward, going everything's cool and I own it. Right.
When are we getting trade, Aaron? Because it ain't coming on launch.
They won't tell
Or
me.
it ain't coming on multiplayer launch.
They won't tell me.
I'd say June next year. That gives us like
You
5
know
months.
Uh,
The release.
So when do you think 1.0 comes out? Because 9.0 coming out before then, hopefully.
All I know
Say
is their
March.
studio has never been
March.
bigger. They got that 10-cent money and
10 cents.
multiplayer.
You 10 cents.
I could see
Love
them. Guilty. Tell me if this is crazy. 0.90 multiplayer. Then we get B, C, D, E, F, G. Like right, all
Right.
these little
Yeah,
in
they're doing
between,
that. That's
Little
yeah.
updates, little
all
tips
these
and
in
dats.
between babies.
Mhm.
1.0 launching with 3 mastery classes.
It has to.
I mean, they have to. The 3 mastery classes for me was the pick on the older poll from the other week.
Because they've
They
shown
have-
us that they've shown us that they will jump 086 to go straight to multiplayer, knowing how important it is. Why would they go 091 to give us what? 1 mastery to go 092 to give us a second mastery to go 093. Now we're at the end of 2023, right?
They
I think-
have
Go
they
ahead.
have 26 letters and thousands of decimals, if infinite decimals. to
Yes.
go through. Just throwing that out there.
I think the
Um,
rush thing though you mentioned, I think they were kind of happy where it was, but they were kind of being extra uber cautious like 11th Hour Games is. I think they just decided because of peer pressure to push, put it further in and then try to get the classes finished as soon as they get that done, because
You don't
Those
think
are
that
like the
10-cent dollar affected it?
that might had a little bit of
A quarter of their company minus a couple, whatever it is, percent.
Dude, I
maybe
wonder
a
how much money.
8%.
I wonder how much money 10-cent gave them.
So we asked, and by that Aaron asked and got an answer, and what we could surmise from it is it's somewhere around 24.9%,
We know it's under 25.
right.
which is 24.9%.
0.9.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
It's $2.99.
obviously, I know not. Obviously, like
It's not $3.
I don't actually know
Right.
the inner workings day by day. You launch multiplayer, then you break up 10 people. You're Rune Master. You break up 10 people. You're Warlock. You break up 10 people. You're Falconeer. Like they need to be. All 3 need to be ready to drop full skills by next patch. You take another 10 people. You're on existing classes to finish the existing skills that aren't in the game. Then you take the other 10 people that are all on art, and then you take the last 10 people on multiplayer optimization and balance and cleaning up bugs and blah, blah, blah.
Aaron,
and everything
I have
I
a question
just
for you.
said, they have that many people working there. And those teams
See,
work until the job is done, and then they push the 1.0 button.
so okay. So
Does that
are
sound
you
crazy?
familiar with-
Is that crazy?
Aaron,
No,
what- okay.
no.
Aaron,
Daft,
real
ask
quick.
your-
Hold on, wait. Guilty. Let me hear what Daft has to say real quick.
Yeah,
Okay. Do you sleep at night, Aaron? Or do you just wake up in fits thinking about all this 11th Hour Games stuff?
No, I only think about it when I'm talking to you.
Really?
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Good to know. So,
I'm not
um,
sure about that.
11th Hour Games operates in an agile work environment.
Yep.
You guys familiar with that?
Yeah.
100%
Yeah.
remote. Yep.
Yeah. Well, not just remote. Even if you're working in the same building, you can be agile. It just means
You could jump
no one
teams, right?
plans anything.
Oh, yeah.
There's a loose
Like
plan.
there's a loose plan.
Right.
Here's your ClickUp app. If you don't stick to it, oh well. We know about that. It means a little bit more than that, but essentially that's what it is. Groups naturally doing what they feel is more important. To put it in perspective, other companies that use agile work environments currently are Lockheed Martin, Cubic, and I think Boeing.
Those companies are on the larger side.
Just a little bit. Now with that Tencent money. Now, yeah. I think that is, agile work environments don't always yield the sweetest fruit, but they yield fruit.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
It might not be the sweetest berry, but you're going to get a berry.
But I mean, and obviously I understand you just can't 10 do this, 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 because maybe you don't have that many people that could do skill design or character design or art, or right. So you have to have enough technical employees that can do what's left to be done.
You have to do things you're not knowledgeable on. That's what it amounts to in reality.
Right.
The point I am trying to make is, obviously, if I could snap my fingers and have it done the way that I would want it, it's multiplayer drops, and then we don't get another update until the game drops. Like, that is really the point I'm trying to say, is they completely rebuilt Druid, they completely rebuilt Void Knight, and then the amount of time they put into those two classes is the same amount of time it would take to make a Falconeer, a Warlock, or a Rune Master. So knowing that they were able to do those within 3.5 months, if they had the team and the money, makes me think they could do 3 at the same time. Daft, is that fair?
I think they do. Yeah, it's fair.
No, that's fair. But I'm still hard pressed. And when they say they put all into multiplayer, I'm hard pressed to think that they don't have like literally maybe 3 people working on this right now.
Mike,
working on each class.
Every stream, Mike specifically.
Yes.
Why? They'll say what they want.
But why?
It's just to make sure.
When people speak in public forum, they use idioms.
Right.
And they also exaggerate.
This is true. They know
there
that
it is.
The public
They're
is
not going to. He's not going to break down the actual scheduling system.
You're trying to tell me that when Mike says verbatim every Friday, including last Friday, we have not started.
Oh yeah, I believe that.
They haven't started
100%,
production of it.
When they say 100% of their employees are working on multiplayer, no.
I haven't heard them say that. I've heard them say 80%.
No, that's probably close to it.
Yeah.
They have 60 right now, right?
But
yeah, roughly 60 employees.
Roughly. Yeah.
If they're trying to release these classes in any, near decade, they probably have a tiny little team that's working on it, just kind of building them and getting, in the backseat. That we don't have to hear about it. They can keep it super secret because we're all working on multiplayer because that's what we want.
Well,
it just makes sense.
To solidify what you're saying, Daft, they have a lore master who I guarantee is not working on multiplayer.
Right, exactly.
Well, that's true. The lore master is not working.
No, I doubt it. He's literally probably
in an agile work environment. he might have to fetch coffee too.
Right, and then they continue to update multiplayer after it releases. They do exactly what they did with 085. Hey, we're gonna drop 5 new uniques for 08 or 091B, right? Or 0 or C, right? And they keep people talking, keep doing the Friday streams. Now, instead of every question being about multiplayer, it's like, hey, this week's tease, what the hell's it? It's a Falcon, just little teeny
little tidbits
of the 3 classes. That's literally, if every stream they dropped 1 image, it would be enough to keep at least the last Epoch community like, the Falcon looks like a phoenix, or just,
and it doesn't do anything we thought it would do.
Exactly.
Right. It keeps the talking. It gets the community excited. Therefore, they are more interested in the game in general. But Rayla, I think in chat was saying the same thing. He's like, I'm not playing right now because, ultimately I'm going to be in a different league, if you will, and
cycle
not playing this one. So
be in a different cycle.
That's what it's called. But It's a thing. I mean, that's the weird thing. I think they know that right now too. 11th hour games, like a lot of people probably are on that wavelength of not going to play right now because there's other games I can play, and when you release, I'll play.
I sent them the poll that had over 1,000 votes breaking down what the community currently wants. And they all said the same thing because I was chatting with them. They said, man, we thought multiplayer would run away with it. We're surprised that the last 3 classes got so many votes. And
maybe if they listened to us.
Maybe just a little.
Yeah, that Friday night or Friday afternoon for me thing.
Well, really, it's the last 2 things to do. So it's not like they're going to drop multiplayer and be like, man, I think the community wants those 3 classes, but we're going to say screw it. Like, that it's pedal to the metal on that.
Right.
I would be very surprised if they're like, we're going to drop a new endgame system before the last 3 mastery classes. I'd be...
Please finish the game before you release an endgame system.
They want one more endgame system.
Finish the game first, you fools.
They need another liaison in our Discord to listen into the chat because it's pretty active about last Epoch. So,
like, we're all saying, please give us the classes. Get out your mead pads. Write out your GDD. Design them. Drink some whiskey. Get into a group. Do a powwow.
You're right. They
smoke some Chiba. Do what you do and do it.
They should just use that 10-cent money to buy asset packs. Done. Just throw them in.
No.
Is it an asset pack if you hire someone to do custom?
No.
You get the artists. Yeah. That's a legit way to do it. Yeah. For sure.
And they got that 10-cent money.
All right. Are we all still selecting different classes? Because I would pick Warlock if all 3 dropped right now. Guilty,
right
are
now.
you? Yeah. Are you still on Rune Master now? Because you want to play your Golem build, or?
No, I want to do. I'm always drawn because the Falconeer seems interesting because they're like, it's a tricky class.
Seems, yeah.
Which
very
tricky.
Hope
it's a charmed based thing, which would be cool if I can.
I hope it's ballista based because I love minions.
Yeah,
Sorry.
It's not a minion. They already told us that.
Go on.
We all thought it was that. Anyway.
Yeah.
But dark. If it's a dark monk, I'll go dark monk all day.
It's not going to be a dark monk. Damn.
Yeah,
what do you think?
Because they hate me.
Obviously.
I at this point I'm open to all 3, honestly, because
if you logged in right now and all 3 are there, which one do you pick?
All right, I'll pick. I don't know. Like, I was Falconeer Club, but I don't know what it's going to be like. I thought it was going to be kind of minion based. It doesn't seem like that's the case. So I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards Warlock.
You can't pick Warlock because that's my pick.
I know, but I'd try.
Hear me out. Not Warlock.
Okay, so Guilty is just going not Warlock. All right, that's fair.
Not Warlock.
I'm not allowed. I was told. That was the rule. That the one rule you gave us was not Warlock.
Hey, by the way, everyone, Daft is starting his own YouTube channel. Ooh.
That's true. He's going to do Let's Plays. So watch that.
It's going to be focused around being a Trekkie. Just kidding. I don't know what it's focused around yet.
No.
If you can find a Star Trek game that's interesting enough for me to watch a Let's Play on, do it.
We'll see what can happen.
Doing that.
All right.
Definitely doing that.
1 hour and 33 minutes. Where does the time go, gentlemen? Huh?
And it takes off.
It does take off. That is going to do it. Thank you all for watching. As always, if you're in the Discord, all right, and you want access to that VIP Patreon lounge in Discord, check it out. It's linked in the comment section. It's linked in the about section. It's linked in every single YouTube video. What we're going to do right now is
it in chat.
Thank you. What we're going to do right now is actually move over to Patreon and record our bonus hour. If you want to be a part of the Patreon, we really would appreciate it. Right now, there's 6 different levels. You get lots of goodies. It's the best way to support us financially into the future. If you have any tips or tricks or what you want to see on next week's poll, put it in the Discord. If you have any questions, put it into the Discord.
The poll, if you guys will remember, go into the community link for the poll.
Let us know.
Yeah,
and let us know
what kind of questions. Yes,
even if we don't use it, we will read it.
We'll store it.
Even if we don't use it, we will read it. That's a good one. All right. Guilty. I'm ready to end the stream. I'm going to give you the final word. And once you give me the thumbs up, I'm going to click the button. Go ahead. I'm ready.
All right. 11th hour games. I desperately need you to finish your game. I need you to give us the classes. Break out Google Docs or Excel or a pad and paper, paintbrush, thumb paint, whatever. Finger
Thumb paint? Sorry for interrupting you. Go on.
Thumb paint. All thumbs.
Thumb paint.
Yes.
It's called
I feel the afro growing on you.
I think he's saying finger paint, but go on.
You finger paint, thumb paint, whatever. Do whatever you need to do. But crank those out. Don't stop being afraid. Don't be afraid. I know you might have writer's block. But please, for the love of God, get a group of 5 or 6 people, 10, 30, whatever it takes, and finish the game. Then you can give us the new end game system. That's the order. Finished game, then end game system. Finished game, then end game system.